Hey there, this is Darren, and on the road between Vegas and California. But for my overly worried friends who say I shouldn't be doing this while I'm driving, I'm sorry. This reminded me so much of my early days, running back and forth to Portland, Maine if I couldn't get stage time in Boston. I just got to do it. So, but I won't tell you if I'm in Nevada or California, so you can't call the police on me. Anyway, I don't know if it's Facebook Living is illegal. It may be dangerous, but I don't know if it's illegal. That's one thing I love about this drive is it's just Route 15 all the way. Anyway, so what's the tough question? I was listening to Grant Cardone, his 10X book, audiobook again, which is one of my favorites. And he said something and that spurred an idea. And I was like, I know what I'm going to talk about today. I know what matters and what I got to remind myself of. And here's the tough question for you to ask yourself. You don't have to comment. I'm not looking for you to tell me. You don't have to send me a private message. Here's the tough question. It doesn't matter what you say you're going to do or what you say you're doing. If someone, let's just say someone all-knowing, didn't hear a word you said, but we knew exactly what you did, would we admire your commitment to your craft? Think about that. Would we admire your commitment to your craft? Hey, Dwayne, how are you? I'm trying not to read them, so forgive me. But would we admire your commitment to your craft? It doesn't matter what we say, but if we knew everything about you and what you did and your habits, when I look back to my early days of stand-up, even driving into Boston, I was scared, physically scared to drive into Boston because I grew up in this household where we lived out in the suburbs where it was like a perfect world, and I lived with June and Ward Cleaver, and every night my mom watched the news, and you know, all we saw in the news was who got murdered today in Boston, in the big city. So I grew up with this fear of the big city because I didn't want to. I didn't want to get murdered. I thought, well, murders happen there. You go there, there's a chance you could get murdered. I know it's ridiculous, but it's also, the truth of how I grew up. So I was afraid of Boston. And so when I think back now to the early days, I would absolutely admire my commitment to my craft. Admiring my commitment to what I was doing to improve myself, to become a comedian. Now I look at myself, and there's times when I do, but most of the times I do good. I do better than many people. But would I admire my commitment to my own craft? Look, if you're just a hobbyist, I know a lot of Toastmasters follow me. Like, you don't have to be fully committed because it's a hobby. But if you choose to do this, or you have a message that matters, or you truly want to change the world or make a difference, it cracks me up where I get people all the time, I want to give a TED Talk. I want to give a TED Talk. I don't know if I've ever had anyone come to me and say, I have an idea that is worth spreading, their tagline. I have an idea that I think would change people's lives and help people so much. Oh, and I want to deliver it in a TED Talk. No, it's I want to give a TED Talk. Now, some of them, anyway, don't want to go on that tangent. But if you told me what your commitment was, here's another one to reflect on. Would I admire your commitment to your family? Would I admire... Yeah, that's a great one, Dwayne. Dwayne says, live like we're dying. We are. We never know. And when I go back, that's funny you say that, because when I go back to those moments where after I won the championship, I thought, wow, if I died tomorrow, it would be okay, because I accomplished what no one ever said I could. And then life happens, and you're busy, and you're building your business, and you forget about that appreciation that after this is bonus time. But what am I going to do with my bonus time? Am I committed to helping people through my bonus time? But ask yourself, are you, like, again, doesn't matter what you say, not even what your spouse or your family says, but if it was an all-knowing power, the universe, God, whatever you choose to call the all-knowing power, if somebody just knew, they knew everything you did, not what you said you're going to do, not what you pretended to do, not like the highlights you put on Facebook, but they really knew, would they admire your commitment to your craft? Would they admire your commitment to, hey, Jeff Stein, hello, yeah, sorry, somebody wants to come on video. That ain't happening while I'm driving, so thanks for asking. But would we admire your commitment to your family? We would, if you have a job, would we admire your commitment to your job? Well, it's just a paycheck. Well, then it's just a paycheck. So don't be surprised if they fire you. Because when you're fully committed, like the old adage, how you do anything is how you do everything. It bleeds over. So I'm reflecting back on those drives to Portland, Maine and Boston that I knew were essential, and that's what I had to do. So right now I'm driving to California. I have 4 speeches. So if you know anyone in California, 4 speeches, Breakfast Club on Friday, Evening Club on Friday, big event, Lace, I think it's called, or Nace or Lace on Saturday for the TLI in LA area. And then if you're watching this, you can go back on my Facebook post, and I posted where I'm going to be and the contact for the club number. And then another one on Saturday at 1 p.m., which is going to be tough because my New England Patriots are playing a playoff game at 10 Vegas time, which means it's going to be really close, and I might miss the ending of my game. I'm hoping there's a place I can watch right nearby so I can walk across the street. Anyway, would we admire your commitment to your craft if we knew everything you did, not what you say you do? So be honest with yourself. This isn't about me, but I truly want to help the people that you will be able to influence. If you're more committed, you're going to have more influence. Why? Because you'll work a little harder. I mentioned this the other day, but I admire Mike Rayburn because he practices 2 hours a day on his craft. I admire his commitment to his craft. Right now, the past 2 weeks, if you watched what I did for work, you would probably admire my commitment to switching my business model completely over to a new format, a new way of doing it, and a new shopping cart. My team has been very patient with me, and my team's awesome. But I've been working till midnight, I crashed for a few minutes in the afternoon, and then I worked till midnight, like pretty much the past 2 weeks. And I've accomplished so much. So I took advantage of the fact that I wasn't on the road and I wasn't speaking. I'm like, I need to change those systems. Why? Because if you change the system, it's kind of like working on your business, improving the systems, rather than in your business, doing the day-to-day accounting or whatever else it is you need to do. Go Patriots. Thank you. It's funny, I was just talking to a guy yesterday morning at breakfast when I was getting my healthy smoothie there. And he's like, Patriots fan? Because I had my Patriots shirt on yesterday. And he is a Patriots fan. And I love talking about that because people are like, oh, Patriots, they always win. It's time to let somebody else have a chance. I'm like, what? I grew up in the Steve Grogan years when we never made the playoffs. We were happy to hit 500. So I'm not apologizing at all. Anyway, so back to you. Now, here's the bigger question. If you're honest with yourself, would we admire your commitment to your craft? Now, here's the second question. What do you need to change that if we did know everything you did, that we would say, wow, now there's a person committed to their craft, committed to being great, committed to being excellent. So many people, when they're talking about Stage Time University or whether they join or not, one of the big questions is, well, do I have time? What? I get it. I don't have a lot of extra time myself, but just like now, I don't have time, but I forced myself to make time to learn about Facebook ads, learn about YouTube ads, go in, make some mistakes, be frustrated. And that's why I admire how I've been lately. Look, it's not an ego thing. Last summer, I was lazy. I didn't do crap, and I was just depressed and not happy. And so I will also tell you that side of it. But right now, I'm pretty psyched. But could always be better. But again, going back, question one, would we admire your commitment to your craft? And then number two, what do you need to do to change that? And then ask someone that you respect and you admire to keep you accountable to do that. So one of my new commitments, or recommitting, I should say, for the third time, was to write my book. So every day for the past 3 weeks, I've been writing a chapter of my book. Yesterday, I missed a day, but that's a hiccup. I'll get back to it this afternoon. Anyway, well, I guess this has turned into a long video. Hopefully you're still with me, but if you're watching the recording, hey, you can stop watching anytime. But I think it's an important question, and I gotta think about that myself too. I know sales and selling is one of the things that still challenges me. So, well, if I cared about my craft, I'd care about getting my message in front of the people who needed it. So I've been writing out affirmations. I'm great at selling through storytelling. I'm great at it. So I'm like trying to change my own personal identity about it, because it's the part about my business that I like the least, but it happens to be crucial to my business. All right, that's all. I'm going to be safe now, and thanks for listening. Remember, inspired by example. Please share this if you think it was powerful. Feel free to shoot me a personal message. Not sure when I'll get to it because I'm traveling, but I will. I get to all messages, and I will be honest, so be careful. I got one yesterday that was had to call somebody out on something, give me a hard time for not helping him for free. Anyway, hey, you're welcome, and thanks for still listening. Yeah, so inspire by example. Live a life worth watching. I love that phrase. Live a life worth watching. And please share this. Remember, you have a story, and someone needs to hear it, as Mark Brown told me. See ya.